3, 2, 1.
Yes. That was really good.
That was really good.
Hey, welcome to Scream of Thoughtlessness. In today's episode, the face I'm making is cracking me up. In today's episode, we're fighting coronavirus. But like mentally. Because we're not qualified.
No.
For the real thing.
Yeah, we're not scientists. We couldn't do that to save our lives.
No.
I hate needles.
Every time I do the intro now, the whole 2 times that I've done it, I feel like I'm super creepy.
There you go.
Is that better?
Just always make sure that the Audio Technica is in front of your mouth.
Hey.
Nice.
Ooh, okay. Anyway, we're going to talk about how terrible and wonderful we're doing in our stay-home, shelter-in-place situation. So we're going to give a brief explanation of our medical conditions, the ones that are psychological, and how that's kind of changed or affected us differently because of the circumstances with the shelter-in-place. And then my hope is that we'll be able to relate to you guys after and talk a little bit about things that maybe you're feeling too, because it seems like even if you have a medical condition that is similar to ours, or if you're just stuck at home, we're all feeling the same thing. So that's my hope, is maybe by listening to us, complain, so to speak, you might feel a little better because it's relatable, hopefully. I don't know. We're just winging it here. You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay.
Let's jump into it. So I was diagnosed with depression in high school officially, but I'm sure I've been struggling with depression my entire life and never really knew it was depression. I, before the whole coronavirus shelter-in-place official rule started, I would say it was pretty hard for me to be motivated to do anything. I was tired all the time, at least mentally tired all the time. And now, after, coronavirus hit, shelter in place started, it has affected me on a whole new level. I didn't think it could get worse than what it's been right now. And we'll get into it more about like just trying to be creative, but it has been tough, very tough to be motivated, just feel like I can really do anything. I'm thankful that we're doing this right now. So, yeah.
You feel like it's making you feel better?
Yeah. It's nice to be able to have a creative outlet such as this. Like I said, pretty hard to be motivated to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm glad that we're doing this together, because it is helping me to fight my own depression during this crazy time that we're in.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I will say, this was meant to be like a project for us to do together, to bring our friends closer together, make new friends if there are new people that listen, but also to be like cathartic. I think it's been something we've wanted to do for a long time. We've just always been so busy because we both had jobs. Now I'm still working from home, but Nick was laid off. And so now it's like, oh, there's a lot of time on our hands. We're home all the time. This would be the perfect time for us to start our podcast. And so it's for us, but I'm hoping it's also for our friends, for you guys, because I feel like whenever I'm watching a video or listening to someone else talk about it, I'm like, yeah, that's how I feel. I feel better hearing you say that you feel that way too, and then just like relating to one another. So that was kind of the point, for me at least. And I'll give a little background. So, major depression, moderate to severe type. and I have generalized anxiety disorder. So before coronavirus and everything, the way that I would struggle with that is like I would either have depression symptoms or I would either have anxiety symptoms. And I felt like it was more depression than anxiety. But now it's like there's way more anxiety than depression. It's really weird. It's like it's shifted in itself in what is stronger than the other. And I don't really know the reason behind that. Talked to my psychiatrist about it. He didn't really make any changes to my medicine or anything like that, but he did say I could take my anti-anxiety more often. So I'll give you a brief synopsis there, if that's the right term to use. I used to take it once a week. I am now up to taking it every day. Whereas my depression medicine, I was taking almost every day. And now I take it basically every other day. Sometimes 2 on, 2 off. Or 2 on, 1 off. But yeah, it's a huge shift. And it's crazy that it literally like flip-flopped itself.
Yeah, I would say too, I've never really been a very anxious person. I feel like even though I have depression, I've been pretty like laid back. I feel like a pretty laid back person.
You are.
But again, for me too, I've felt a level of anxiety I've never felt before. Now, I've never been diagnosed with anything anxiety related, like any anxiety disorder, but it's given me a whole new appreciation for people that do have it, and that might be struggling even more in this time, especially. So yeah, my heart goes out to you guys, because everything is just heightened right now, and I'm sorry if you do have any type of anxiety disorder, but we feel your pain. We do.
Yeah, and I think we feel it sometimes because we actually can relate to it, but then other times we feel it because we're being empathetic. We're trying to put ourselves in your shoes, because everybody's depression and anxiety can be a little bit different. So that, I think, is another big thing about it. But I think I forgot to talk about the symptoms that I was having before.
Oh.
So I think my symptoms before were probably pretty similar to Nick's. Lack of motivation, definitely a thought process of, these are things I love to do, but I can't do them right now. Like, I love to paint, but I wouldn't even want to pick up a paintbrush when the episodes are really bad. And that's a weird one in itself. I think another would probably have to be, well, you can't say it on YouTube, and this gets uploaded to YouTube first, but it's certain thoughts that are intense, that you try to fight, that are very irrational, to be clear there, because I kind of stuttered. Irrational thoughts, and you can logically go, that's a bad thought, I don't want to have that thought, and yet you're having it anyway.
I know.
So that was a big one that I had fairly often, I would say. And then a lot of just things that people usually see as laziness, and that's
a big one.
That's like heartbreaking, because the people who don't understand, they just go, well, why don't you just be happy? Just be positive. Think positive thoughts. Get up in the morning and go do it. And you're like, I can't leave my bed. I can't leave my bed.
That is probably the hardest thing to hear, is just, well, just get up and do it. And it's like, I feel crippled,
Yeah, I can't.
Yeah.
I feel blocked in place, as if somebody just froze me in time. So those were my major ones. And then now I can get up, I can do things. I think I can, I feel like I'm not really struggling in that area. I have been painting more than ever in my life.
I know.
It's weird. It's crazy.
You've been going paint crazy.
I have. It's so weird. And then panic attacks. The panic attacks are back. So again, flip-flop. I'm doing the things that I used to love. That's more on the depression side, right? That's related to that. Now I'm doing the things I love, so the depression is lessened, or maybe it's not in a bad episode. And then panic attacks start happening.
Yeah.
And I didn't really have them as often before this.
Yeah.
So, and it's not related. I want to be clear. It is not related to coronavirus. I'm not afraid of coronavirus. I'm not afraid of getting it. I am afraid of spreading it to my loved ones and any elderly person, whether I know you or not. Anyone at risk, anyone with a compromised immune system. I work with kids with special needs, and some of them have compromised immune systems. Those are the people I'm afraid of getting it, but I myself am not afraid of it. And I myself am not afraid of the whole grocery store thing. Like, I know that we will always have what we need. I'm fine. I'm calm. It's not related to that. I think it's related to the shelter in place. Mm-hmm. So even though I have adapted and I love being at home, I don't know what it is. It's like doing something new, having a change in your routine. This is all new. I had to start working from home. I've never worked from home in my life. And so that was a change, and I don't handle change well. So that's where this is stemming from. And now I'm having panic attacks. And I think the panic attacks also happen during periods of time when I get to see the people that are important to me. So it's usually through like a Zoom call or a FaceTime. Mm-hmm. That's when for some reason, my body is like reacting to that because, well, I don't know.
I think you miss it. I miss it. I know that it gets to me too. Mm-hmm. I wanted to ask you, because you said that you were adjusting to it and you feel adjusted to it now. Did you feel like in the beginning it was easy for you to adjust, or it took a little bit and then you now, like within the last week or maybe 2 weeks, you finally feel adjusted?
Yeah, in the last week, I finally adjusted. It took some time for me to adapt to my new routine of working from home and having my entire routine at home. But it's interesting because I think it also stems from being an introvert. Like, now I'm like, I don't want to go back into normal life. I want to stay home forever. Can I not have to leave my house? I don't want the virus to stay, but I want to stay home all the time now. Like, but before I was really not handling it well, and I wanted to be able to go and do things, and I wanted to be able to live a normal life. And I was like, how are we going to adapt? How are we going to have money? I started having the thoughts, the normal thoughts that you have. And as soon as that kind of went away and I realized, wait, we're fine.
Right.
Then I was like, I could do this. I could do this forever. I could do it.
So on that note, I find it interesting that now you're adapted, because when I was working, I really wanted a break, and at first I was like, oh, okay, well, here's my break, and I felt motivated to do stuff because of just having the time now. And then after probably maybe 1 or 2 weeks of that, I was like, my brain, because I feel like I have the mentality, like a worker's mentality, and I feel like I need to do something. And so I feel like I was breaking down after like a 2-week point. And so now it's like, I'm not adjusted at all. So I find it interesting that you are now adjusted, and I feel like I'm like lost.
Well, and I've noticed that too, because you've been having some rough couple of days. Like I can't remember if I mentioned already, but we tried to film the podcast / record, and it didn't work out. We couldn't do it. We could not do it, and we had to just call it that night. Yeah. And it was solely because of that. And we just knew it. And so we called it, and we tried again the next day, And the next day was wonderful. It was perfect. And we felt really good about it then. And it's just crazy how one day can be, from one day to the next can be so volatile as well.
Yeah, we really just have to take this thing day by day, because I find myself also just being overwhelmed with just wanting to do certain things, or needing maybe to get some things done.
Mm-hmm.
And once that list starts building up, at least in my head, I just shut down and I feel like I cannot do anything.
I'm the same way, but it's not related to this. I'm the same way in everything. So I have to have a list, but if I feel like some sort of task is too big and I can't break it down into small chunks, I just freak out, and you'll catch me sitting on the couch doing nothing.
Well, but the nice thing about, us being married is that when one person is down, the other one can lift them up. And so that's another thing too, is like, for single people out there that might be watching this, or, those that might be sheltering in place by themselves, I mean, feel free to reach out to us, or anybody, call a friend, call a family member, let them know how you feel. Maybe they'll share their feelings with you. Seriously, we all need each other in this time, because it is really right now all about just unity and trying to at least build each other up so that we can get through this thing in one piece.
Yeah, and I think that counts for all the time too, because I have people that check in on me and I have others that I check in on, and we don't just do that right now. We do that all the time. So if you don't have someone like that right now, go into the Scream of Thoughtlessness DMs. I will be that person. Nick will be that person. Nick loves to be that person.
Come on over. I'll talk to you. That's totally fine.
But I'm serious, because I think of that. And here's the people I'm thinking of right now in coronavirus situation, shelter in place. The reason we keep saying shelter in place for any of our friends who are not in Arizona right now, we are shelter in place order. Other places I think are different. Every place is different. So that's why I keep using that term.
Yeah.
But anyway, as funny as it sounds, extroverts, I am like super worried about people who live alone and extroverts, because I know you guys are suffering way worse than we are.
Mm-hmm.
Did I say that right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Way worse. It has to be.
Yeah.
Because like, how do you get your daily dose,
How do you get your energy back? An introvert gets their energy back from being alone,
right,
and just recharging.
Right.
But extroverted people need that companionship.
Mm-hmm.
They need to be around at least some type of group of people to feel like they're recharged and ready to take on maybe the next day or week or whatever. So yeah, seriously, I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah. And I wouldn't say that I'm not completely on one end. I see it more as a spectrum. Like, I do need that stuff too. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I need to talk to people.
Right.
I need to, get on an Instagram story and say something dumb. It just helps me.
Yeah.
But for them, they need to be around people. And so, yeah, that's what I was thinking of.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I feel like we've covered that. I didn't want to talk too much about us. I wanted to give information about us so that you can understand like how we're doing and what happens in our life, I guess. But I really was hoping this episode would serve one purpose, and that would be for you to know that we are here for you, and that if you just want someone to talk to, we're always here.
Yeah, and
just DM, call, text, email, whatever means of communication you have of ours. Yeah. Please use it.
And I was just going to say, hopefully, if there's anything that you can take away from this episode, hopefully it just inspires you to go be creative at this time. If whether or not you wanted to study up on something, I don't know, read a book or learn an instrument or start a podcast or anything, anything creative or artistic or whatever, go start it. I don't think there'll be a better time than now, especially if you don't have a job like me. So,
and I wanted to add on to that. If you're motivated, do it. I know sometimes with depression, you may not be motivated. So that's okay. But if you are motivated to do it, and it depends, everyone's situation's different, whether you have depression or you have another mental condition that affects you, whether you're being affected just because you're staying home all the time and you're going stir crazy. Maybe you have a situational depression because you're at home. There's so many different circumstances, but I will say I root for and I would highly advocate that you start something that is something that people don't usually start because of fear of failure or something like that, or because they want to do it because of like views and success and things like that. Start a blog, start a podcast, start making YouTube videos. If it's something that you've been thinking about for a long time and you really want to do it, do it. Do it because you love to do it. I love seeing people start doing these new things because it's literally like you're putting yourself out there, and that's super brave. And I don't know, I feel like that encourages me. Go and do the stuff that's scary. I know it's so cliche to say it, but
It's
I
true.
mean,
It's very true.
you know, I like seeing that, and I like seeing people root for each other when they do it. Because back in the day when I did YouTube, people did not share like their setup information. You know, you'd ask somebody, hey, how do you do your lighting? What camera do you use? They would be so stingy on that because they were afraid of the competition. That's not how I feel about it. And that's how a lot of people, I think that the mindset has changed. So if you want to do stuff like this, I say do it. And if you want to know how we're doing ours, we'll share it with you. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot I feel like you can do nowadays with for cheap. I mean, our setup right now is both of our iPhones and a webcam, and now this is a little bit of an upgrade. We tried filming a couple episodes with 2 USB mics, and those sounded really
They were
good.
really good. They were so good that they were picking up things that we didn't want them to pick up on. Like, you know, there's a bit of a learning curve when you do like starting a podcast, and microphone etiquette is one thing, but then there's also like these extra noises that happen in the background. And I'm like a perfectionist, and I really wanted the audio to be really good, and we'll keep trying to improve on it and make it better. If it doesn't sound that great right now, I promise you it will get better. We will get better. I think I said that in the last one, but
Yeah.
like I just keep saying it because I'm like, we're gonna get better.
We're
gonna improve.
Yeah, we're just gonna keep trying.
But those ones were so good that they picked up everything, every sound. And so if you're pretty good at like, what is it, closing the gate, or like trying to filter that stuff out in editing, you can get a pretty cheap mic and you can do that. So don't feel like you need the expensive stuff.
No.
I would say the same thing for YouTube too. I used to film in front of my window. I'm not even kidding. I never bought, ring lights weren't around then, but I didn't buy like box lights. I had a DSLR, but that was because I was into photography back then and videography, and I took courses on it and things like that. But other than that, like, I think that was the only expensive item I had. And I would open my window, and natural lighting is like the best lighting ever. And that was how I did it. And that was it. It was cheap. I edited in iMovie, which I already had on my computer, from a laptop that I was gifted to me when I started college by my mother. So I didn't pay for that either. Thank you, Mom. But seriously, you can, things are even more advanced now. Just do it. Just start doing it. We know that there's things that you love and you're holding yourself back, because I've held myself back. I deleted my own YouTube channel when it started getting traction. I've been there. I have done that. I have been that person, and I'm not anymore, because I'm not worried about the popularity anymore.
Yeah.
And so that's what I think it is. I want to do this because I love it. And I want to do this episode specifically because I love you, and I know it's cathartic, and because I love you guys, even though some of you are people I might not know, but I do. And I just want it to be, I don't know, loving. Is that, it's too forward, too soon? I don't
too
care.
soon.
I don't care.
So yeah,
That's what it is.
any questions, if you just want to talk, feel free to reach out to us. I'll talk your ear off about audio if you actually want to ask that question. Maybe
He went to college for it.
I did. And if maybe if that's something that you guys want, we could maybe make a little part of an episode about just the details, a little bit more details about our setup, and what I try and do to make things sound good with where we're at, because this is an apartment. It's not necessarily a curated, studio room. But I feel like all things considered, it sounds pretty good for what we got.
Yeah.
So anyone can do it.
And look at that. We went off track, even though, thoughtlessness. Anyway, let's go into questions from a friend.
Okay.
All right. First question. Ill Eagle asks, who's your favorite villager in Nintendo Switch's Animal Crossing game?
So I haven't ran across him yet in New Horizons, but Vladimir from the Animal Crossing for GameCube was my favorite because
Yet.
yes, absolutely.
That took me a second.
Yeah.
Okay, mine is Egbert. Is that his name, Egbert?
Mm-hmm.
It's so weird because I don't know him. Nick knows him on a more personal level.
Yeah, he essentially just stays up all night. He's very nervous, and he's just a lovable guy. You just can't help but talk to him and just want to be his friend.
I think he has severe anxiety, and I think that's why I like him so much, because he comes up with these weird things where he's like, wow, this place is like a beach resort. Wait, are we in a beach resort? Wait, are you a beach resort worker? And he just his mind explodes.
Yeah.
And you're just like, yeah,
it's okay.
You're kind of off.
Yeah.
I like you because you're like me.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I like him. Okay, Lightning Luke, favorite dinosaur.
I mean, for me, it's Trogdor.
Are you serious? Did you wear that for this?
I mean, I didn't realize that question was going to be on here, but
Okay, for our listeners, he's wearing a deep navy blue sweatshirt that says Trogdor the Burninator.
Absolutely.
And for anyone who knows that, that's like an old meme before memes were called memes, right? No?
It's not a meme. It's part of a cartoon.
I mean, it's a meme. You're wearing a meme.
I wouldn't call it a meme.
Because they didn't call them memes then?
It was part of a segment on homestarrunner.com, which the website is still up. I had to check. If you want this hoodie, you can still buy it off that website. It was part of a segment called Strong Bad Emails, and he teaches you how to draw a dragon. This is said dragon with a beefy arm and a little S with a squiggly.
For our listeners, it does not look like the actual, it's not a dragon. It's the, I don't even know. Please go Google, just go Google image whatever this is, because there's no way that I can explain it to you, and we're already over on time.
So to answer your question, T-Rex. Moving on.
Wait, that you said was Trogdor.
Well,
All right, cheater. My favorite dinosaur is a Brontosaurus because I could imagine us being very good friends, and I would ride on the lower part of his back or neck, or wrap my arms around his neck, and we'd go through drive-thrus together, and we would get salads because he only eats he's an herbivore, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know about dinosaurs. No, but that's who my favorite is, because I can imagine us being very good friends, and because he's the calm one. There ain't no way am I going to be friends with the T-Rex who wants to rip my head off. That's not happening. I'm going to be friends with the nice one, the calm one. That's why I married you.
It's the stubby arms that get me.
Yeah. Okay.
Moving
All right.
on.
Last one. Johnny B. Woods. Do you guys have a YouTube or TikTok or something? Because I would sub to you guys.
Thank you. First off, Johnny B. Woods. And I have a TikTok. It's at Nick Nurk, all one word, Nicknerk. And it's pretty dumb. I only have like 5 videos on there, and they're pretty stupid.
But you know what? Maybe you should start doing more of them, and then it'll be a work in progress. He doesn't really like do them, but maybe you'll start doing them because you'll be inspired to impress Johnny B. Woods.
Yeah.
Okay. And regarding a YouTube, glad you asked, because if you're watching this, then yes, we do. And we also will have other things also too.
Here it is. Ta-da.
Yay. Okay. Thank you for listening and or watching. And I'm going to do our dedications. Then Nick can do a little baby sign off. You want to do a little baby sign
You can
off?
do a baby sign off, but you got to give us the dedication. So
Okay,
let's get to the
dedication.
let's dedicate.
Okay. This episode is dedicated to Dory Woods, Scarlett Shizzle, John Corral, and Davis Axtman. Hooray! Wow, that's great. Wonderful whistling. The reasoning behind it. So Dory, she warms my heart. And then Scarlett and Davis are helping us with some podcast stuff. So definitely dedicated to them because they're helping us in quite a large way to be able to even make this thing happen. Scarlett's a very talented artist if you're interested. Davis is also a talented artist, but in a animated moving graphics way.
Mm-hmm.
Should have asked him what the official word for that was, but that's fine. If you're interested, I will give you his details. And John Corral is another person who I recall quite a while back just flat out asking us, when are you going to start your podcast? And I was like, yeah, we should probably get on that. I think that was like 6 months ago.
That was last year.
9 months ago.
At least last year. I don't
Yeah.
know. So thank you again, everybody, for tuning in, listening, and or watching. And again, if you need a friend, just message us. We're here for you guys. Be creative. Be inspired.
Hey, I was going to say that.
Oh.
Everybody needs a friend. Happy painting.